those hate groups that you see in Facebook, and a lot of these people in this business are guys that worked for companies like mine that feel like this guy can do better than him. And when they can't, rather than know that they can't, they want to look at the big bad dragon of the big bad companies and they want to say the only reason he got there is because of that, because they're insecure. They have what I call little dick syndrome. They're insecure. Everyone else's success is their failure. They struggle with all of that. And there's a lot of them out there, especially in a construction type business like solar.
Boom. Welcome, guys, to another episode of Sales Talk with Solar Pros. Now, on today's show, we have Jayson Waller. Now, a lot of people in my community of 17,000 solar pros, they were against me holding this interview. However, one of my core values, one of my personal core values is you can never hate someone unless you know their full story and unless you get with them, face to face and you have a conversation. So I told my good friend Jayson, shoulders, let's go, baby. I told him about the idea of bringing you on the show, and he's like, dude, I met with Jayson in Florida. Let me connect you guys. Let's get this done. I'm like, all right. So here we are. Now, to give people a quick intro, Jayson, you grew a massive company, something that most people cannot fathom. And correct me if I'm wrong, you did over 600 million in revenue in your final year of business.
Yep.
Of Pink Solar. Company was valued at over $1 billion. That's more solar than most of these guys, mostly anyone can blink at. And you did it in 9 years.
We did it in 8.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So yeah, I just want to let everyone know as well, this is actually the very, very first time that me and Jayson Waller are meeting on this show. So we haven't had any previous conversations except for a few back and forth on emails. This is raw. This is candid. We've got a few questions prepared, but Jayson hasn't actually seen them. So what you guys are going to hear, this is unedited. This is all, filmed and straight onto Spotify and onto YouTube. But for the people who don't know you, Jayson, tell us about you, man.
So, Jayson Waller, I've been CEO of 3 companies now. I built 2 home security companies, had 2 great exits, and then built Power Home Solar, which then became Pink Energy. We had this mission to really allow people to own their power, change the world, put a dent in the universe. I had friends and family that were actually sick from some of the coal ash in North Carolina. So they were getting brain tumors, they were getting thyroid cancer. There's a lot of coal ash ponds that leak into it. So I have a vendetta against the utility companies. And so I figured, you know what? I want to be part of that solar movement. I got in on it. The first 2 years we're in business, we lost money. I sold my house on the lake. I did really well in the first 2 companies I had. So I made a lot of money. But I had to sell my house on the lake. I had to put all this money into the business. I didn't get paid for the first 18 months.
This was your first solar company?
My first solar company, my third business I opened from the ground up. And in this company, year 1, we did about 3 million in sales and lost $1 million. Year 2, we did 10 million in sales and lost $1 million. Year 3, towards the end of year 2, we started to be profitable. And as we started to be profitable and I had to put money into the business selling my home, we started to look at, hey, look, we can really take this to the next level. Let's open up new markets. Now that we understand, because I was used to doing home security. So if you sign someone up for home security, you can install them in a couple days and get paid. For all of your viewers and all of your listeners and everyone in your group, most of them know that in solar, it's construction. You don't get paid till it's put in.
So many moving parts.
Right. So you've got it's a cash problem. And so you're infusing cash all the time. And so I was infusing a lot of cash into the business and not paying myself. And so finally the tide started to turn. We started to get enough deals in the pipeline. We mastered, we didn't sub anything out either. A lot of folks, they're either installer.
So when you started doing your own installs as well.
Correct. Well, no, when we first started, we subbed out probably the first 20. And then we developed a relationship with the different electricians in the state of North Carolina and started to develop our own team. And so the goal is I have a problem of control. I don't like to be in a position, and during this journey, and I explain the story a little bit, it'll make even more sense. I don't like to be in the position being held by the short hairs or being handcuffed to a vendor or a subcontractor or anything like that. I want to control the destiny for the consumer to have the experience be the best
Yeah.
as possible and to make it efficient and fast as possible for the consumer. So what I saw with the subs is, oh, I'll get to you when I get to you. That doesn't work. You spent marketing dollars, you spent commission dollars. Like, you can't run an operation like that. So we started building our teams really after a couple months, and then we didn't sub anything out. So yes, the answer to your question is we didn't sub anything out. We did everything from the marketing to the sales to the permitting to the design to the CAD to the structural letter to the engineering to the installation to the permission to operate by doing the interconnection, all of it. So I had people
Wow.
in different departments that we did. And so we learned and built relationships with utility companies and with jurisdictions and what the inspectors in the areas that we were in to be able to really make this efficient. And we built it from the ground up because I stuck an infusion of cash from my other businesses in this to be able to do that. A lot of people can't do that if they don't have the money to do that. I was able to put money into the business and sell my home to put more in order to make this work the right way. So
Wow,
long
man.
story short, it's explaining
Yeah.
who I am. So I built this company up, and then we get into, we're growing pretty quickly. We switched over to American-made panels in 2017, doubled in size. We were just growing. We did solar in 5 NFL stadiums, 1 Major League Baseball stadium, 1 college stadium. We ended up, you had mentioned $600 million in revenue. We had a deal with Generac we did in 2020 to be, one of their battery installers, their largest by far. And I was a big believer in batteries, right? We looked at LG, we looked at, Tesla, and Generac came in, they bought Pika, they promised the world, they said it was going to be game changing and all these great things. And they were a huge reputable company. So we partnered with them and started doing that in 2020, grew the company to go over to 600 million. We had over 54 offers to buy the company. 52 of them were private, anywhere from 350 million to 650 million. We had 2 public offerings for over $1 billion. We decided to do the deal for over $1 billion in 2021. And beginning of 2022, we signed the deal. We're supposed to close in middle of 2022. For about 2 years, we were already going through the process to go public. So we're filling out paperwork at the SEC. We're getting audited financials. We're doing everything.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this podcast. Now, do you want to own your first investment property in 90 days or less? I know you're thinking that this is too good to be true, but that's exactly how I started my real estate investment journey. Now, as I didn't have someone to show me what to do or how to do it, it basically came with its own levels of stress, anxiety, problems. Not to mention the delays either, because the best time to be buying real estate is yesterday. Now, all of those didn't hold me back either, because within the first 10 months, I had 18 investment properties under my belt. Thankfully, you don't need to go through the unknown to getting started. You can simply get yourself someone like myself who can help you get started in a much shorter period of time. You can get someone like yourself who's got the been there, done that experience to help you get it within a much shorter period of time with less problems. In fact, if you're looking to get started in real estate investing and want to generate passive income in as little as 30 days, I'm currently accepting 5 people into my flagship real estate investing program. Click the link below to apply and see if you'll be a good fit.
And anybody that takes a company that big, you got to be above board. I mean, our attorney's fees were about $500,000 a month. We had compliance departments that managed everything from marketing to contracts to sales pitch to recorded calls with consumers after the install. You name it, like, we were the most compliant, highest reputable, best recommended company out there. Our reputation showed it. So we were super excited.
And this is with like 2,000 employees, right?
We were
This is
sitting
a
with
big
2,400
business.
employees. Yeah, we went into
Yeah.
2022 with 2,400 employees.
Wow.
27 cities we were in, 17 states. I mean, like, we're very proud of what we built. And look, how did people say, oh, a BBB? Well, we had an A+ with a BBB. We had a 4.7 on Google, 4.5 on Facebook. We had thousands of reviews, tens of thousands of testimonials. I mean, we did it all, right? So people can say whatever they want because they can't understand it. We were the best. That's why NFL picked us. We were the best. That's why 200 companies let me pitch to them and 54 wanted to buy us. And then when we did the deal to do the public reverse merger, and what that means is a company's already public, they have cash on the balance sheet, they're a struggling business. We do a reverse merger to where we then become one entity. We use their cash on the balance sheet in order to grow and do bigger things. So we had a deal with a company called XL Fleet, signed a letter of intent to take the company public, and we were going through due diligence. Everything was going great, and we had $100 million of stock options dedicated to our employees. We had spreadsheets where certain employees were going to become millionaires. It was a game changer for everything. And all of a sudden, we went from normal. Anybody that's running a solar company, whether you got 10 customers, you got 1,000, you got 10,000, you get a normal percentage of service tickets and you manage it. And as you grow, you manage it. We went from 800 phone calls and about 200 tickets a month to 30,000 phone calls and 10,000 tickets in 1 month. And we didn't know what the hell was going on.
Holy shit.
And so we were piecing this together. Long story short, we ended up closing. Generac owed us about $90 million. We ended up suing them before we closed for $1 billion. We couldn't go public. We were trying to survive. We had to do major layoffs, which sucked for so many great employees. Customers were left in the dark. I ended up having to close. And because my face was all over the place for the business, you know, I was the face of our franchise.
You were the punching bag.
Well, we were. Well, when we were Power Home Solar, people don't know this. We were Power Home Solar. We actually were looking to do a deal with Morgan Freeman to do our commercials for us. And our marketing company that we use that does our commercials, they said no. Like, you need to do them. Like, I don't want to be on TV. They're like, nope, save the $5 million.
Why did they say no?
They thought $5 million in advertising was better than paying for an actor. And they're like, you're so passionate about solar, you should be the guy that gets into the homes where they can go, oh my God, I want to do business with this guy. So that was the vision. And that was in 2019 when we were flirting around 100 million in sales, not 600 million. And so
this is pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And so we did the deal pre-COVID that way. And then in 2021, late 2021, before 2022 hit and before all the problems hit us in March and April, when we signed the deal to do the reverse merger, we agreed to change the company name to Pink Energy, but we wanted to do it on Earth Day because that meant something to us, because it was renewable energy, it was Earth Day. So we planned it 4 months and ahead, and we switched to Pink Energy because we felt power, home, and solar were too small. We were getting into the microgrids. We were getting into some utility stuff. We were getting into community solar. There were a lot of things that were on the horizon for us that we didn't want to be tied to power, home, and solar. Plus, we were in litigation with Power Home Remodeling for 5 years. And we're like, look, we can call ourselves Purple Elephants if we want to and still do the same because we know who we are. We're crushing it. It doesn't matter about the name. Let them have the name. Let's come up with something great. So us and the public company agreed. We switched to Pink Energy on Earth Day. So when all of this came out in March and April, and then we switched names, it looked to people like, oh my God, they're trying to change names. And it's like, hold on. We emailed and sent letters to every customer we were switching names, and we aired on TV in every market for 2 straight weeks about the change. Hey, Power Home customers, we are now Pink Energy. And then we extended warranties. But you get people out there that are real small-minded that are like, oh, that's why you did it. And it's like, listen, asshole. Like, that's not why we did it. If that's why we did it, like,
because there's two sides, like there's two opinions that I hear.
Well, why would we have TV commercials telling people we're changing and mailing letters out and spending $11 million or so on a rebrand over a 4-month period in order to do it the right way? It doesn't make sense, right? So, and it was the same company. It was just a DBA. It's not like we created a new company. But long story short, and it's, small-minded people out there, we fought the fight. And all this storm come, we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, because realistically, it all started in April 2021 was the first fire. There was actually a fire that started you might have questions, and I could tell the stories we go through, but it was 2 fires that led to a firmware update that led to tens of thousands of customers not producing. Their systems were limited. We're getting calls like crazy, rightfully so. Customers like, dude, I bought this, it doesn't work. We're getting ripped off. We're like, hold on, like, this has never happened. In 8 years of doing business, our complaints were less than 1%. We were able to justify any kind of growing pains, any kind of issues, address anything. This isn't right. Let us dig into it. When we dug into it, turns out that firmware update shut tens of thousands off. Generac took responsibility to us. somewhat took responsibility to them, mailed them a letter saying, hey, our part's failing. Pink Energy's doing everything they're supposed to, but then they never paid us for service. And that bill got up to 90 million and our brand was taking a hit.
Holy shit.
And customers were getting pissed off. And then you get other bandwagon customers that are like, well, I don't want to pay my bill no more. Hey, mine doesn't work either. So then that starts to snowball. Then you get ex-employees that are fired that don't understand. And then they're like, oh yeah, get them. That starts to snowball. And then you have a company that was so wonderful ends up closing the doors. And that's what happened.
Wow, man. So I want to go a little bit deeper into you know, the downfall, how long, like over what period that actually happened, what happened up, you know, to the lead up to you knowing shit, something's wrong.
You know, if I'm able to share, I don't mind sharing this timeline that we gave the media. How about that?
Man.
You like that?
You want to share your screen or?
Yeah, hell yeah. You good with that?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
All right,
Let's
cool. So here we go. And you could share this. I'm okay with it. So tell me if you see that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me make that.
We got it.
All right, I'm gonna make this big for you. Okay. So this is what we call a media kit. This is what we gave to the media when we figured out what was going on.
Now, is this public or is this?
Oh yeah, this is public. We shared this with all the journalists and stuff out there, right? All the media. And when I did a press conference in late June, this is what we shared with everybody. So this right here is your Snap RSs. This is what they look like. Okay, that's what they look like burnt. We had over 100,000 of those that we ended up replacing. And there were probably another 150,000 that needed replaced. So what is a Snap RS? You can see that's what it is. What is the issue? We'll go through here. It's easier for me to do this so people can see. I wish I had this on Bradley's, but I didn't, and that's okay. But you could see what these things were doing to homes, right? This isn't a wiring issue. If it was wired correctly, it wouldn't have passed. If it was wired incorrectly, it wouldn't have passed inspection. It wouldn't have worked any time. These are customers that were working that all of a sudden weren't working because what would happen is these things would get hot and they could catch on fire. So to prevent the fire, what Generac did is they sent a firmware update and then it shut some of these off. And I'm going to show you. Okay.
So the actual Snap RS was faulty.
Yeah, they did a recall on them too late. They should have done a national recall on them. They didn't. So the Snap RS 801 was faulty. Then they come out with the 801A, which was faulty. And then we were replacing them with the new one. This is when we sued them. We knew there was a problem. They told us, I always use the example of Tesla, but I won't here because you guys understand solar. But they told us that this is fixed. This is our bad. We should have done more due diligence with Pica. This is on us. We have fixed all of these with the firmware. They won't catch on fire. Any that you have to replace, we should be good. We'll reimburse you. We're great. We think everything's fine. They don't tell us it shuts off part of the system. So when you see this right here, you see this array right here of 8 panels. When one of these snaps goes bad, and 41% of them were bad, okay? So the odds of one of these getting bad are very good because 41% of bad.
Basically 1 and 2.
Yeah, it shuts off the entire array. So if you have 2 arrays of 16 and 1 snap is bad, your system's at half. If you have 3 arrays of 8, which would give you 24, and 2 snaps are bad, 1 on each array, you're at a third of your system working. The customer doesn't know this. We don't know this. Their bills aren't changing. They're like, what the hell is going on? They have this PVRS lockout on their screen. They're confused. We're like, what the hell is going on? We're screaming at Generac, like, guys, what the hell is going on? Why are we getting all these phone calls? Why are these systems not producing? This has never done this before. What is wrong with your inverter? What's going on? They're like, oh, it's the snap. It's the snap. We sent this firmware. It should be fine. After investigation, we figured out that the firmware would govern it. So if one went bad, it shut it all off. That's what they did. They sent the update so it wouldn't catch on fire and it would automatically turn their systems off. Nobody knew until we would go out there and replace hundreds of thousands of these going, holy shit, there's a problem. Here's the issue. They went from 801 to 801A and they told us the firmware would fix it. We're like, okay. When they came out with the 802 in June, we said, they have been lying to us the entire time. They knew there was a problem because they made a whole brand new part. And we started as a team, it's documented, we started to build our case against them. And on August 1st, we sued them because we were like, let's figure out what's going on. And they assured us the 802 would work. Remember, this is a public company worth $12 billion at the time, who was a partner with us on TV with us. I had a relationship with the CEO. And they're telling us, we're going to make this right. We're going to fix every customer. Had they done a national recall, think about this. You get a bad part in a car. Had they sent a letter out to each customer saying, your system ain't going to work correctly. Don't worry. We're going to send some parts to Pink and they're going to come out and fix it. We're not even talking today, Carlos. But they didn't do that. Wow. They took the cheap way. They said, you know what? And we were 80% of their business. It's not like they're like, well, why didn't these other dealers? Well, 5 dealers I know of have closed or went bankrupt because of the same problem. They're all smaller. We're the largest one. But had they done this, and look, here's what I truly believe, and I've testified against it. I've done depositions like these are the facts. They knew there was a problem. They didn't know how bad. And when the problem got really bad, they didn't tell their board. That's why there's a securities fraud against them, because when you're a public company, when you have an issue in your company, you got to tell your board. I know this because I was taking public CEO classes because I was going to be a public CEO. They didn't tell their board because they're like, oh, Power Home can handle this, or Pink, whatever you want to call them, and we're going to help them. It'll be fine. There's no reason to hurt our stock. So they took the inappropriate way to do it. And what happened is it was so much bigger than they thought that they were like, oh shit, we can't say anything now. Our board's there. So they kind of just separated themselves from us and said it was an installation issue. How the hell does it pass inspection and work then if it's an installation issue?
Yeah. And that was going to be my next question. Like, what's their side? Like, what do they blame it on?
Well, they've admitted, because they have a letter. There's a letter in here from Generac I can show you as well, too. But this is the timeline. This is where it gets juicy, right? Let me explain the timeline to you. So April 2021, things are rolling. We are exploding. We're talking to companies about, maybe selling part of the company, a minority piece, to a private company, raise some capital, take some chips off, and go into other states or public. We'll see. So everything's booming, right? We just finished 350 million in 2020, and we're forecasting in 2021 600 million. April 2021, a SnapRS was discovered at a service call in Cincinnati, Ohio, complaining of lack of system production. Our findings were immediately reported to Generac, and they said it was the first time they ever heard of it. It was in April. August 2021, a couple months later, another solar installer, this is a competitor of ours, using Generac's products, reached out to Pink Energy, okay, to inquire about whether we had noticed issues with Generac SnapRS, noting a very high rate with SnapRS failing and needing replacement, with the devices showing signs of heat deformation and even charring. The installer brought the issue to Generac's attention and got no response. We emailed Generac that too and got nothing back. The same month, in August 2021, a fire occurred at the home of Pink Energy's customer in Kentucky. The cause of the fire was believed to be the overheating of the SnapRS in the customer system. This is before they ever did any updates yet. So here we are chugging along, selling all these Generac systems. Things are going okay, so we believe. We had 20,000 customers before we partnered with Generac, and we had about 20,000 customers after we partnered with Generac. So about half our customer base, okay?
Oh, wow.
We started with Generac in April of 2020, right in COVID. That's when we started with them. So fast forward, August 12th, a conference call between Pink Energy and Generac was held to discuss potential thermal events associated with SnapRS. Generac disclosed to Pink Energy for the first time that it was investigating bulging and separation issues and was developing a new model of SnapRS called the 801A. So in August, they tell us, listen, we're looking at this issue. It's been brought up to us before. We're creating this new thing in 801A. Things should be good. Now, we have documentation of this. This is me making this up. Like, we're a $1 billion company. We had spent $500,000 on attorneys. So for those watching this, like, get your head out of your ass and think about this. It's a big company doing big things with big attorneys. Like, we have our ducks in a row. And we have attorneys on the call, and they're discussing and finding solutions. And Generac, it's recorded on Zoom calls, Teams calls, emails. This is their response. So as a partner of theirs, we're like, okay, they're on it. They're getting a part fixed. Nothing to freak out about. We don't have hundreds of complaints. We don't have anything going on yet. It's the one-off. Let's deal with it. August 18th, a fire takes place at a Pink Energy customer in South Carolina. This is the second fire. The cause of the claim is believed to involve melting or exploding SnapRSs. August 19th, Generac informs Pink Energy that it developed a firmware update which had the ability to remotely identify defective SnapRS units that were in danger of overheating and presented a potential thermal event. Pink Energy was assured that the firmware update applied by Generac remedied the issue of overact SnapRS turning on and off repeatedly. We keep each unit signal constant in the on position until there was a forced rapid shutdown. Generac says firmware updates began to be sent to customers' homes on this date, with more occurring over the next couple days. Jeff McAndrew, Generac's director of sales of the East region, said to Pink Energy, all is good though, so glad we resolved it. So then we got on calls. I got on calls with the CEO. What the fuck is going on? I had a relationship with him where I could say that to him. He's like, dude, I don't know. We're on this. I said, dude, this is bullshit. We've got we can't offer your shit no more. No, we've got a solution. We're sending a firmware update. We'll make this right. Don't worry about it. I said, well, how big is this problem? How many are failing? I had the attorneys talking to the attorneys. We were all over this. People like, they didn't know they were, no. We were all over this. Okay.
So this is a firmware update through systems connected to the internet, right? Through Wi-Fi.
Correct.
And what about customers who weren't connected to the Wi-Fi?
So glad, Carlos, dude, you're very smart. So that was the question we asked. And they said, we are going to go out to each one of those sites. We'll get you a list of those to get the updates done that need those. That came up.
So they were going to pay for the electricians or whatever and send them out themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Fast forward. September 29th, Generac emails Pink Energy concerning firmware update, says it not seen any post firmware failure. So they're saying it's really good in situations where they're not exhibited issues of the firmware update. So we're like, okay, we're chugging along. We don't see a spike yet. Remember, because these customers that this was happening to, they're getting a firmware update. It doesn't like tell them, hey, Carlos, you got an update. It's on their roof. It's in their garage. They don't know that. And they don't see
the results till months later.
Now, yeah. So here they didn't do what it was supposed to in August. It didn't do what it was supposed to in September. It's not doing what it's supposed to in October. We're getting a couple calls like, hey, my shit's not really working. We're like, what? That doesn't make sense. We use Aurora. We have the best software out here. It's very accurate. We're very conservative. Let's take a look at it. All these things are happening, right? Slowly. September 29th, they emailed that. Okay, mid-October, following the fires at the home of Kentucky and South Carolina, which were months ago, Pink Energy, this is when our attorneys got together and said, something seems a little fishy. And the reason is because they didn't even ask for documentation. They just gave money to those customers who had fires. Like, it was very weird. So our attorney comes to me, Zach Darrow, and he's like, dude, this doesn't smell right. Something's like, public companies don't do that. I feel like they're hiding something. I was like, really? I've got a good relationship with them. I don't feel that way. It's like, well, he said, look, I'm going to email them and ask them for some stuff. I said, okay. So in October, he says, we need a report on the corrective action being taken regarding the snap failures and the effectiveness of those. They never provided the report. It was in October. As fall went on, Generac continued to reassure us many, many times that the situation remedy was fixed with the firmware, and that the overall operation energy protection Pink Energy customers should not have any issues going forward, and that Pink Energy's customers had not received the firmware because their solar energy was not connected to the internet, that they would take care of that. In late 2021, now remember, during all this time, we're meeting with investors, we're looking to take the company public. There's not a spike in services. It's like, it's a slow spike. Nobody's really felt it yet, right? Okay. Late 2021, we get Generation. They give us the new snap. They're like, hey, the other one took the firmware, but this one doesn't need firmware. Here's our 801A. That's the one they mentioned to us months ago that they would put out. So we're like, give us all those so we don't have to send these firmwares to these guys. Let's go. So we're putting in the 801As thinking things are okay. Guess what happens? The same thing. The 801As are burning. We're freaking out. I remember getting on the call screaming. I am not a calm dude. I'm on the phone MFing and cussing
so
every
you got more customers that are calling in saying it's burning on my roof?
Yes. Yeah. No, they don't know it's burning on the roof, that it's not working. And I've got installers calling, say, guys, the new ones are burnt. What? We're on the phone with Generac, like, go, dude, what the fuck is going on? And in late 2021, we went from 800 phone calls, not service calls, phone calls, to 30,000 in March. So December to March, we went from 800 to 30,000 phone calls.
Shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Dude, no company's prepared for that, man. That's
no.
you know?
No. And the problem is it's not 30,000 customers were broken. It was 10,000 customers not working, calling 3 and 4 times a day, a month. Like, they're just calling and calling, like, what the hell? My shit's not working. We're getting 5-hour hold times. We had 200 people in customer service. We didn't have hold times. We couldn't answer the phones. It was like, oh my gosh, something's going on. This is in early 2022. So Pink Energy asked Generac whether or not, this is in February, March timeframe, whether a report involving the SnapRS had been filed with the Consumer Product Safety Commission, CPSC, or other government agency, and whether a product recall had been initiated. We started to ask them, you need to do a recall because your 801 is a problem, and your 80, and that with the firmware you lie, and the 801A is a problem. This is bullshit. Have you reported this in? In May 22, we asked for a copy. They refused to give it to us. May 23, after such prodding by Pink Energy because of the backlash from customers, our brand was getting hit. There was a hit job up in Detroit where they had 19 complaints. 17 of them were Generac issues. 2 were ours. So they put up these secret cameras. They had this whole thing done where they talked to like 20 of our sales reps, and 3 said the wrong thing. One said, all of Ford Field has solar, and it's not. It's their parking garage and their thing. And the news made a big deal about that. One called it a tax refund, right? Or a tax rebate, not a tax credit. They shouldn't have said that. But we have QA calls and contracts and proposals that back that up. And another customer said something stupid. I don't even remember. Long story short, we get this whole hit piece. We're like, what the hell's going on? Where are these complaints coming from? We end up firing those 3 sales reps. 2, I believe, were justified. The Ford Field one was a simple mistake, but we fired him anyways because he didn't know his head from his ass of where the solar was. And we decided to spend $200,000 on what they call an AM100 law firm to do an investigation. Because we were in the middle of a deal going public, we hired an outside third-party firm to do an investigation of our sales process. Full investigation.
On yourselves, like a full audit.
Yes. And we wanted to have that for when we went public. We did this in March and April. It came back in June that our things were the best they've seen in the industry. There were no issues. Our training, they talked to ex-employees. They looked at proposals. They were like, we haven't seen anything like this in solar. You guys are doing everything you're supposed to be doing. It came back like 98.9% perfect.
Do you have like a certificate for that, or like?
I do. It's actually in here too. Like we have a whole thing for it that we give. You get a whole audit summary that you paid for that says we went through all of this and you guys are doing all the right things. You're talking to the customer about if they're going to save money or not. You're talking about the battery cost them money. You're talking about not everybody can get tax credits. You have a form for them to sign on their tax credits. Understand, we're not CPAs. This is on you. And if you don't get it, that's on you. You have a form that says all these things that we do, a QA call with the consumer so they understand the process. Like they're like, you guys go above board. We're like, well, we're going public. We're supposed to. They're like, really good job. So this whole report came back great. Okay. Also, June, at this point, Generac acknowledged they had near a 50% fail rate, 41% to be exact, and another 8% were never received the firmware update. So they still didn't fix those other 8%. So now we're like, dude, there's a problem. You have homes out here that can catch on fire. So we made them issue a letter. We said, you're going to put a letter out to these consumers right now, or that's it. Like we're done. So they put a letter out and assured that they would fix us, told us they'd pay us. And then in June 1st, they lied and said, Aaron Jagfeld came out and said, when the firmware update was issued in 2021 or anytime after, Generac did not disclose the firmware update was only an interim solution for the product. So they told us that all the testing has shown long-term system was latest firmware production and that the 802 would fix everything. They didn't even tell us they were making an 802.
What's up, guys? It's Carlos here, and hope you guys are enjoying this podcast. Really quickly wanted to jump in here and say that over the last year or so, I've helped hundreds of door-to-door guys, salespeople transition into remote solar sales. Now, the number one problem that I found is the amount of capital that is required for someone who is in door-to-door or a salesperson to need to invest to be able to move into the remote sales world. What are those capital intensive things? The first thing is you need a dialer. Second is you need a CRM. Third is you need the leads. The leads alone are going to cost you at best $1 each. Most expensive ones can be anywhere from $5 to $10, and if you're generating Facebook leads, these could be up to $40, $50, even $60 a pop. So it can get pretty expensive to set up your own operation. If you then want to build a team, you then need to hire people, you need to have build a culture, you need to start building a community. So everything stacks up in terms of time, in terms of money. So what we've done to solve that problem is we've created a team. This is an internal team called Remote Sales Pro. This is a team that you can apply to join. And what we do is we handle everything. So we give you the dialer, we give you the CRM, we give you a team of experts and managers that will help you close the deals as well. We even include up to 350,000 leads that we preload into the dialer. So all you need to do is apply. If you're chosen, you just go through a quick training course, and then from day 3, you're dialing and you're making sales. So if you're interested in learning more about the Remote Sales Pro team, all you need to do is go click on the link below. It's remotesalespro.org/apply. fill in your details, register for the next webinar, which happens every single Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern. Attend the webinar. We'll tell you all about the opportunity. We'll tell you how you can apply, and we're really, really excited to see you there. So guys, continue watching the podcast. Super excited to continue creating content for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Let's roll.
They told us. So then when we got that, that's when we met as a team in June. And within all of July, so it was like middle of June, and for the next 45 days, we put a case together to sue them August 1st. And they never paid us the $90 million they owed us. And so here's by the numbers what happened. So we had 19,000 customers with Generac or PowerCell. This is as of June 2022. We had a 50% fail rate on all of those that we put in. We approximately 50,000.
50%. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Well, I asked him on the phone, I said, let me ask you something, Aaron. If I built a car and the seatbelt had a 41% fail rate, do you think they'd make me do a recall? Yeah. I said,
yeah, and I was going to ask you.
They would make me do a recall if it was 1%. So why haven't you done a recall? Why are we funding and cleaning up your shit show mess? Why are we the guinea pig of your test products? Why are our customers in the middle of your shit show? Those were the questions.
Who enforces the recall? Is it up to the company to do a voluntary recall?
Yes, it's their responsibility. Think about this. If you own a car dealership, Carlos, and you're selling Chevys, and Chevy's catching on fire, it's their electric car, and they're catching on fire, and then Chevy's like, Carlos, don't worry about it. You could still sell our Chevys. We got firmware to fix it. And you're like, all right, I have a relationship. It's fucking Chevy. And you stay doing it. And then all of a sudden, all these electric cars, they can't charge their battery whatsoever. And now they're pissed and they're coming and beating down your door as the dealer saying, Carlos, you guys sold me this car. It doesn't work. You're like, well, dude, I don't make the car like it's supposed to work. No, ever since they did that firmware, my battery doesn't work. I'm costing me more money to charge it than it was doing gas. What the hell, Carlos? And they come by the tens of thousands, and you go to Chevy like, dude, what the hell? Like, I'm selling your cars. This is a problem. I need help to service this shit. You need to give me the batteries. You need to pay me for this. You need to do that. And Chevy goes, it's not our problem. And Carlos's dealership goes, boom. That's what happened.
So there were some comments on Facebook when I first put up the idea of getting you on the podcast. Hold on.
Here's our compliance program. I want you to see this. Our onboarding, our training, our marketing, our sales, the quality assurance calls that we did, the facts that we had, Inc. 5,000 many years. We did a lot of things, how many awards we've won, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, there you go. So now that you kind of could see that and see how that all worked, hopefully that made some sense.
Yeah, man, dude, and I appreciate you sharing that as well, because it's all it's prepared. As you said, like it's a multi-billion-dollar company. We spent a shitload of money on attorneys.
I mean, if I wrote an email to somebody, the legal team looked at it. Like I'm telling you, every ad we had was we had FTC. We had a deal with the FTC to look at our ads with our team. Like there was no bullshit. All the companies out there, the wannabes, that's bullshit. Making promises. We didn't do any of it. Like, that's what's upsetting is like, we were helping the industry doing things the right way. Some of these other schlocky guys out there that are just throwing panels up and promising the world, and it's, Chuck in his truck. That's the shit that's going on that's hurting the industry.
Yeah. Wow, man. Dude, I'm blown away.
I am as well.
So there was some comments on the initial post that I put up when I put up the idea about bringing you on the podcast. And there was multiple people who said that, why didn't you just stop the partnership with Generac when shit hit the fan?
So great question. And here's my answer. When you have 10,000, 15,000, because that's about how far in deep we are, do you abandon ship and end your relationship with Generac to fix those 15,000? Or do you take the word of a public company who's been your partner and haven't showed you that they've lied before, and they're in the middle of this, and you go, okay, how do we fix this? Because I couldn't leave those 15,000 customers hanging.
Yeah.
Right? So we couldn't just abandon ship. How do we fix them? Do we just go walk away and say, you guys are screwed? We don't sell that product anymore. There's so many different things you have to think about when you make those decisions. And that was something we discussed. We discussed it internally, and the thought was, okay, Generac, this is before we knew all the lies and the manipulation. We're like, look, they're a publicly traded company. They have a board to answer to. Clearly, they have $12 billion. They will make this right. They're going to pay us to fix this. They're going to get in front of this with the consumers. Maybe they'll do a recall. They should. Like, let's get these customers fixed and continue to build on. We went, Carlos, from 90 install teams in March of 2022 to 25. We went from 25 service teams in March to 2022 to 90. We flipped our business. And so it was hard, you know this in this business, to have revenue when you're just fixing problems.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that's where the cash flow goes from $50 million a month to $18 million a month. It's hard to survive. So you're using your debt to survive, and you're billing Generac, and it's not as much as you would do a new deal, but it's the right thing to do. And you're waiting for Generac to compensate you, and they're just not. They're slow paying. Like, we were even giving customers refunds. So if Jayson was a customer of ours and he was like, look, I don't give a shit whose fault it is. My shit hasn't worked for 5 months. We were cutting Jayson a check for 5 months of his monitoring, or of his loan payments. And we were telling Generac, and they agreed. We have emails. They agreed. Hey, we're refunding customer rebate checks because of your product. This is your problem, not ours. We'll help you fix it because we installed it. We'll fix it. But you got to compensate us for it. And you got to pay us back for what we refund. There was like $13 million in refunds they never paid us back. Refunding customers months because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
We kept trying to do the right thing. And when we were doing that, the big bad Generac company, people forget how big they are. We were $1 billion company. They were 12 billion. We had 2,000 employees. They have like 8,000. They answer to shareholders. Like, we were getting ready to be public. So we were like, they're gonna make this right. They're gonna make this right. We can't abandon our customers. You know, people ask, what would you do differently? Well, first of all, I'd have never chose Generac, but who would have known? I'm not Nostradamus. I'm not a psychic. Second thing is, could I had a second provider? Sure, we had SolarEdge before then. SolarEdge just had their own problems in the past, but I still love them. But we wanted batteries, and we begged SolarEdge to have batteries. They have now. They didn't then. We wanted batteries. I believe in battery technology, and so Generac had that. And we had 2 panel companies. We had 3 finance companies. We had everything else. We had backups, but we trusted Generac on the inverters and the batteries. People think it's the battery that failed. It's not. I hear batteries are failing now from them, but this was the Snap RS and the inverter were having the issues. It's not the battery. So a lot of people are like, I ain't even got a battery. Listen, asshole, doesn't matter if you got a battery or not. If we installed you, it's Generac. And we were at like 95% battery anyway. So most of our customers had batteries. And so it's hard to look, and I've already had the empathy and sympathy. I've cried. I've done the interviews. I feel bad. Trust me. I went into our 341 bankruptcy meeting for the business, and I took a beating from these customers, right? And the trustee sat there and he watched it, and none of the vendors, all the vendors knew what was going on. That's why none of them are pissed. They all knew Generac fucked us, and they knew, and they're like, look, they're all going to stick their teeth in Generac soon. I promise. Things are starting to turn that way, but these customers are stuck in the middle. And so they see my blonde hair and my face, and they're like, this guy. And they don't realize, all right, you know, he had other companies. He did real estate. He's had a book. He's had a TED Talk. He's had a successful podcast, all these other things to provide for my family. What they don't realize is I left hundreds of millions of dollars in the company that I could have taken in distributions, and I didn't. I didn't take any distributions for the last few years except tax distributions, which go straight to the government. I had the same salary in 2018 that I had in 2022, and the company grew 25 times the size. I didn't 25 times my salary. It was the same money. People don't realize that. They think, oh, this is what he did. This is what he did. And it's like, guys, that's not true. And we took ourselves off payroll during COVID, and we took ourselves off payroll the first time we laid off people in April 2022. We took ourselves off payroll, never got paid again. So people don't realize, and we gave the company several $1 million for the final payroll to make sure employees got paid on the last time because there was no money. The funding resources stopped. We tried everything to save this company. I mean, everything. I gave everything I had. The company was profitable in 2021, $60 million. I owned 37.5% of that. So I should have had 37.5% of 60 million. You know what I made? 1.2. The same salary I made in 2018, the same salary I made in 2019, same salary I made in 2020, same salary I made in 2021. But the company was 20 times bigger. My point to this is it's people think what they want to think. And here's what I've learned. Have you heard the story of the tiger and the donkey?
I think I did on Bradley's podcast, but yeah, share it again, man.
It's my favorite. So the tiger and the donkey are arguing because the donkey believes the grass is blue. And the tiger's like, dude, the grass is green, homie. And the donkey's like, no, dude, it's blue. And the tiger's like, dude, It's freaking green. And the donkey goes, let's go see the lion, the king of the jungle, and you'll see. So they hop on over to the lion, and the donkey jumps up real quick. It says, lion, will you please tell the tiger that the grass is blue? And the lion says, the grass is blue. And the donkey goes, great. Can you please punish the lion for wasting my time arguing with him about the grass being blue? Lion says, I will. Donkey takes off. Tiger stands up and goes, okay, lion, I respect you. I'll take my punishment. But clearly the grass is green. Lion says, the grass is green. Tiger says, well, then why am I being punished? And the lion says, you're not being punished because the grass is green. You're being punished because you're a reputable, notable animal here in the jungle. And for you to waste your time with a jackass arguing about something he'll never change his mind on is wasting your time. And that's why you're punished. So I go back to, I can sit here all day till I'm purple, but there's going to be haters, companies that wish they did what we did, people that wish they were me and have pictures of me on their fucking ceiling. There's going to be all these people out there that no matter what I do and whatever proof comes out, they're going to have their own jackass opinion. You know what? There's nothing I can do for them. My fear is, and my whole knowledge to even talk is to help those that are confused and want knowledge to better themselves and their business in the future, and to not be put in my shoes, or to make sure that they're being proactive with their consumers and not being put in what we went through. That's my whole goal here. There's going to be people out there like that douchebag that was sort of fun on thing. Like, I mean, he has like 5 employees and 12 customers. Like, we're not even in the same universe. We can't discuss the same thing, right? So for him to come at me, and I'm not trying to knock on small companies. I start small every time I build a company. I get it. But I'm smart enough to know I don't care what other people are doing. I'm not trying to go, oh my God, look at that guy. That's why he failed. Ha ha ha. Because you just wasted your ha 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 energy of bettering yourself trying to kick other people. And that's not how you grow. That's how you continue to watch. And that is the world of fucking sheep. And if you want to be a lion and you want to conquer anything, then you fucking elevate and you levitate and you do what you got to do to fucking do. You don't worry about everybody else. You don't fucking point fingers at everybody else. You don't kick people while they're down. You don't fucking wish bad on people, because when you do, karma is a bitch, and she writes that story the way she does.
Right up.
And there's a reason why things happen. And look, I hate what happened. I wake up all the time and I go, man, I feel bad for my customers. I feel bad for my employees. I feel bad for my family and the shit that they had to endure. I feel bad for me. But there's a reason why it happened, and I don't know what it is. But I can tell you I'm closer to my family for it. And I'm coaching a lot of people in a lot of ways for it. And I'm opening other businesses, and I'm involved in a water business that's going to change the world, and I'm passionate about it. And it's going to, oh my God, it's a game changer. And there's things that I can do, but you know, I'm not going to hide. My business partner, God bless him, and I love him. He's like, I never want to show my face again because everyone's mean, and he leaves. I'm
dude,
like, fuck you, dude, be mean. Like, I'm not going to sit around. Like, I'm me. Yes, I like nice shit. Sue me. Like, stand in line. Like, I made nice shit before Power Home. Like, why are you mad? I didn't make money at Power Home. I lost $400 million at Power Home. People don't realize that, and they can't write their fucking, and it, you know, people should be nice to me and want to learn shit from me rather than hate on me and wish they could hold my jock strap. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you don't better yourself by doing that. Like, it's
agree with that,
bullshit.
Man. And I want to talk about you, dude, because there's obviously levels to this, right? Like, you've got, you know, someone puts out a post on social media. You know, they're
by the way, I usually don't respond, but I knew the podcast was coming. My wife's like, why would you even respond? I'm like, I'm taking a shit. I'm like, I'm taking a shit and I'm having some fun. She's like, why? I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. So someone puts up a post, they're unknown. They get a hater and they never put up a post ever again. There goes their social media journey. Dude, you're at a level where, you know, everything that you do right now is judged. There's an opinion about you. You know, there's, you know, good opinions, but there's a lot of hate happening right now as well. What internal mechanisms do you have to shield yourself from that hate? And how do you continue showing your face every single day, you know, despite the hate on the internet?
Great question.
It gets to people, man.
No, great question, Carlos. And look, you're pretty good at this, man. I've done a handful of podcasts, like 300 or 400, and you're pretty good at this. I'm gonna give you props. Like, you ask good questions. All right, so I would say a couple things. One, it's not easy, right? And as my friend Jessie Lee would say, I'm Boss Lee. Shout out to her. She's fighting cancer right now, but she's a badass, right? And my wife just posted something about her, so I shared it, and that's why it's hot on the heart and mind. Is you have bad moments, you don't have bad days. You have bad moments, you don't have bad weeks or months or years. And you have to really take it into that. And I'm a fighter. It's just like everyone's doubted me my whole life. Like I lived in a trailer park. I had abusive family growing up. Like I got my girlfriend pregnant. She was in high school. We had to drop out of high school. Her family fucking hated me. Like I went through a lot of
Wow,
shit.
so you didn't grow up with money at all?
No, I didn't have a pot to piss in, dude. Like I had fake Tommy Hilfigers and I went to 5 high schools. I got in fights with everybody because I had fake Tommies and I never started a fight. I've been in 29 fights. I've paid attention to them and I've won 29 times. Okay. I'm just telling you, I'm waiting for the motherfucker to beat me, but I've never started a fight, but I have finished every one of them. And that it's how I'm built because I'm getting jumped. I'm getting in fights. Like I grew up in Phoenix. Like, it was a little different out there. There's gangbangers around me. All my friends were essays and vatos. Like we were like we thought we were the shit growing up. And then I moved to North Carolina and it was like, this is different. Like you got blacks and whites. They don't even like each other here. It was fucking weird to me. Where I grew up in Phoenix, it wasn't like that. So I had to find my own way. And it was hard because I have a good heart and I'm a kind person and I'm a loving person, but I'm a very intense confrontational person. And I don't ever I don't get mad, go, fuck you. I'm not like that. Like, I'm like, whatever. Then when you come at me, it's like, all right, bitch, you burn my grass. I blow your whole block up. Let's go. So it's just my mentality. So when these people come and they hate, I have to think of the lion, right? And the tiger and the donkey. I'm not going to waste my time on a lot of hate. So I don't. It affects my wife and my kids completely different. I wish my kids had me. They don't have me. They have my wife. And my wife things bother her more than me. Things eat at her. It eats at her when people talk bad about me. And she's like, you're not even like that. Like people don't realize you gave all that money back that you ever made at Power Home back so the employees can be paid. People don't realize all the sleepless nights you did to try to save those customers. People don't realize all this, all the nights you cried and the directors and the executives doing everything they can to save the company. And I said, I get it. And so it hurts her feelings. But what drives me is the world to me is a place where it's broken into a third. There's a third of people that know who they are. They're comfortable in who they are. They're secure. They want happiness for everybody. They want success for everybody. They want everyone to win, including themselves. And they don't let things bother them, and they're not a hater. And I'm in that position in my life, and I've been in that position for a good while. Then there's a second group that doesn't hate, but they're insecure and they're very scared and they're timid and they're like, they put something out there and somebody says the wrong thing and they kind of go into the dark like Homer Simpson does into the bushes. And that group, there's a third of people of like that are just timid. And I call them level 2. Like they want to get to level 1. They don't know how. They're not a hater, but they're just timid, right? I'm not going to praise that person, but I'm also not going to help myself. I'm just scared. And those are the ones I'm concerned about. And I want to get to level 1. And then level 3 is just your haters. Their failure is because of your success. Your success is their failure. They need someone to point to because they don't know how to look in the mirror and go, you got to do better. They need someone to blame because they don't know how to go, I got to do this. I got to try harder. They don't know how to put one foot in front of another. There's always an excuse. I have some of them in my own family, dude. My own brother. I love my brother. He is the king of his failure is my success. And it's ruined our relationship. It's put a wedge in our family. Every time I'm successful, I feel guilty because he's not, and he blames his failure on me. But those kind of people, they're broken. And all of us have been in all 3 categories before. I've hated before. It's been a long time, but we've all been there. What, that motherfucker ain't that buff without roids. Like, that's a hater. You should be like, dude, maybe that guy does sit-ups all day. I don't know. But you got to pick your thing. My point is those hate groups that you see in Facebook, and a lot of these people in this business are guys that worked for companies like mine that feel like, fuck this guy, I can do better than him. And when they can't, rather than know that they can't, they want to look at the big bad dragon of the big bad companies and they want to say the only reason he got there is because of that, because they're insecure. They have what I call little dick syndrome. They're insecure. Everyone else's success is their failure. They struggle with all of that. And there's a lot of them out there, especially in a construction type business like solar. I hate that.
There's so many moving parts.
All the big solar people, all the big CEOs, ADT Solar, Sunrun, Tesla, all their CEOs reached out to me like, dude, I hate that this happened for you. Do you see them on there writing that stuff? No, it's fucking John's truck. It's fucking grimy. Come on. It's like, it's the people that just don't get it. And if they were smart and they would get in category 1, they go, oh my God. And they would study this stuff and go, holy shit, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to me. And they would take it and use it as knowledge rather than waste their energy hating. But it feels good for them because it's their incompetence. And because they didn't get to the level they want to bring down other people that have been there and say, that's the only reason they're better than me. And that I can't fix. And so your question to me was, how do I overcome it? Well, I've got 4 kids and 2 grandkids. And I talk about this all the time. My son gets sick of it. But he sees how hard I work and he sees how dedicated I am to do the right thing. And when all this was going on and I was on the news and people were bashing me and my kids were getting abused and we had a death threat, like all this stuff, fake news, like stuff that's not even real. It's like my family's like, what the hell? And I go into places and I could see certain people look at me weird. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like it's still me. Like none of that's real, right? But it bothered my family so bad and I seen them become level 2, right? And I try to have to stay level 1. And my son saw me building a new company immediately, like trying to build one immediately. What else am I going to do? Am I going to sit and fucking rot? I can't sit and rot and point the finger all day. Otherwise I become number 3. I'm like, Generac. And I'm not blaming them because we failed. We failed because we used their product. I'm responsible for picking them. That's me. That's my fault. That's not their fault. Their fault for lying and cheating and not being forthcoming to the consumer and doing a national recall. That's fucked up and they should be responsible. I'm the one that picked them. That's on me. I own that. I'm sorry to everybody, but that's on me. I have to live with that. I have to live with that decision. So I'm not going to sit in the mud and cry all day. I'm like, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to build something. So I have, and I started, and my son told his teacher when she's like, Christian, who's your favorite role model? He said, my dad. And she's like, well, why? He said, with all these people hating him, he doesn't listen. He goes out and builds a new company immediately, adds more jobs, gets customers things that they need. So I can't be the other way. In his eyes, is it okay to fall down and stay down? Everyone likes Rocky. Rocky gets his ass kicked, he gets back up. Gets his ass kicked, he gets back up. I'm trying to be Rocky. If I get my ass kicked, I got to get back up. I can't lay down. I can't stay down. And so people are like, bitch, like you got this show and you got this, you got that. I didn't ask for the show. They asked for me. They came to me. Like, what do you want me to do? They're like, you're fucking crazy. This is crazy. Your family's crazy. Let's do this show. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this show. And in the show, you get to see the inside look of like how I really am a good person. But I am also an asshole to work for because I hold people accountable. There is no fucking gray. It's white or black. You either did the job or you didn't. Like they see that. People can learn from that. They see the balance at home. They see that when I get home, I don't call the shots. My family calls the shots. They kind of they bully me a little bit, right? That's a good balance for me. Like they see all these dynamics. They see the businesses we're looking at. They see the podcasts, the relationships, some of the A-list celebrities and influencers that I'm close to and why they're close to me and why they love me. And I've got good relationships with them. And they're like, dude, you're good people. I don't give a shit what these things say. Like, who called me when all this went down? Barry fucking Sanders. Flew to my house and did dinner with me and my kid when all of this went down because he knows who I am and he knows my family. Calvin Johnson, I said this because I was intimate with the Lions, reached out to me. Several people, Dan Locke, my mentor and the guy I love dearly, I'm going to speak at his event, reaches out to me like, dude, this is bullshit. This happened to you, man. What are we going to do? Let's get you into coaching, man. Don't stay down. Let's go. Like, it's important to have things like that. And so when John Smith says something on social media, 99 times out of 100, I don't pay it noise. I knew I was coming on the show. I thought, look, and now that I've got my own show coming out, TV show, all the haters are doing is giving me more press. Yeah. Keep it up.
I'll probably watch
I don't have a company for you to ruin now. My companies are investments. Like, keep it up. Bring it. Call Amazon. They're like, we're going to write Amazon. Please continue to write them. They're just going to stroke a big check and buy the show for season 2. Like, write them all you want. Tell them you're fucking going to be like, this is what they want. And these fucking idiots don't get it. Like, the more they hate, the more they're going to watch. The more they complain, the more they're going to watch. Like, half my listeners on my podcast hate me. That's fucking great.
So I want to extract a few business lessons, man, because there's levels to business. Obviously, you went from $1 billion to 0, and
so my new company I'm involved in now, does it'll do maybe 2 million in sales this month. So it's probably valued at like 15 million.
So on that, from the moment you stopped, or like you finished up with Pink, to the moment that you got started on your new business, how long was that period?
So when Pink stopped, we closed in September. We didn't plan on filing bankruptcy. Lawsuits started piling up. We filed bankruptcy in October. We had to do a wind down October to November, started building a new company in December, broke $1 million in sales in March. 3 months it took to do $1 million in sales in 1 month.
Some people will never get to $1 million in sales.
That's why I do coaching, Carlos. I'm like,
right?
listen, I can, and there is no like secret rip-off sauce, dude. It's pretty simple. Like how to build a sales team, how to scale it, how to build a bench, how to market, how to have a call to action, how to measure your ROAS. That's the stuff I teach. There is no like secret rip-off bullshit sauce that these idiots come up with. I'm not the Wolf of Wall Street. There's no illegal magic. It's knowing sales and process, call to action, how to get fined, like different things in different business. I'm helping a couple people right now, a buddy of mine that owns a company in Michigan, and they do brick and concrete. And he did like 5 million in sales last year. I've been with him for 3 months. He'll do 14 million in sales this year. He's going to triple his business. He'll tell you because of me. I'll say, well, also because he listens. He's not doing anything wrong. He never had financing. He didn't have a call to action. He didn't know how to build the right sales team. He didn't know how to measure his ROAS and his appointments. Different things and levels. Doesn't know how to raise capital. So the water company that I want to do, it's next level, dude. Like, why? Because I want to change the world.
Tell us about that, man.
Oh my God. So this is a water company that makes water out of air. Think of a dehumidifier on steroids, and it's the cleanest, purest water on the planet, and adds in the magnesium you need. So it's alkaline water, 8.6 pH. And they've done a lot of things for philanthropy. They haven't really built a residential side of it. It's more of like commercial utility, but he's got a residential unit he wants to do. He manufactures it here in the U.S.
What's going on, guys? Sir Gucci, aka Jayson Shoulders. I just want to say thank you so much for watching this podcast with Jason Waller. I hope you guys are getting a ton of value. This video is actually sponsored by the Call Center Doctors. We've built over 60 solar call centers, and we recruited over 4,000 agents. All we do is complete end-to-end call center build-out, be your staffing, recruiting, integration, ongoing sales training, ongoing management. So if you're looking to have a solar call center built out, please reach out to myself or Carlos, and please leave a like and comment if you're enjoying this video. Have a great day.
And he reached out, we started talking, and it's like, wow, like, dude, I love it because, you know, we got to have clean water, bro. We got, like, that's important. People are getting sick. I know people getting cancer. Like, I have 2 kids and my wife with autoimmune deficiencies. So they're very sensitive to food and bad water. Like, it's personal to me. And so,
but when you say it creates water out of thin air, what is that? What's that system? I know it's probably like proprietary, but
it is proprietary. I can't say the name, but it's like you know how a dehumidifier works? It goes into a room and it pulls the air out. This pulls the air out, condenses it, and then makes the purest water in the planet. And this guy's like a scientist and a production guy. He's not a sales guy. He's not a marketing guy. He doesn't know how to raise a lot of capital. 2 NBA players are involved, but very minor. And when they're with their involvement, they can't do more than that because they have big deals with big water companies. So they can only stay little. So I'm coming in to infuse some money and my expertise to come in and help grow the residential side of this to where people can have clean, healthy, affordable water in their home, cleaner than anything they've ever seen, better than RO systems where you waste 75% of your water, and then be able to offer a whole home activity in the thing. So I'm all about it. And it's a huge opportunity to change things. And imagine those unfortunate that live in shitty areas with shitty water places and they can't afford this stuff. We're going to put special financing in. We're going to give away a lot of systems like Tom's does with shoes. We're going to do a lot of philanthropy. It's going to be great. And there's going to be haters out there. Look at this. But guys, dude, I don't need, first of all, I don't have hundreds of millions of dollars like people think. I lost hundreds of millions of dollars, but I don't have any debt. So I don't do everything I do for money. I like money. I'd love to win. I'd love to earn my 400 million back somehow. Absolutely. Like it hurts your feelings. It's like, oh my God, what happened? But I do things now in this chapter of my life that I love. And I love to change people's lives and make it better, especially with clean water. And I'm all about that. Like eating clean, drinking water. Like I got glass here. I don't drink out of fucking plastic. It's metal. I've got the water. The system's in here. The guy brought me a system. It's the cleanest water on the planet, like on the planet. And we're going to offer it, and it's going to be next level. And we're going to take this thing and partner with some big people. And it's going to be massive. And I'm excited about it because it's passion. It's how I felt about solar. But are you familiar with Eminem?
Eminem is in Slim Shady, or
yeah,
Eminem's a chocolate.
Eminem is in Slim Shady.
Yeah.
You know the song 25 to Life?
I don't recall. No.
I'm sure our boy Jayson down there knows.
That was Royce 5'9".
No, maybe it's the one where he's talking about he's been with her for 25 years and he's done now. If you listen to the song, that's how I feel about solar. I gave everything I had to solar and I feel like it treated me like shit on the way out. And so it's like, I can't go back to it. I've had so many offers. Even, I mean, Jay, we talked like, I just don't have the heart to do it. I just can't. I'll always be chasing the ghost of pink and I'll always be compared to that. And look, I believe if I started a company or joined a company, we would crush what pink did. I just don't want to anymore. The way it treated me on the way out, I just want to be about something else. I think it doesn't make me happy anymore. It's like if you lose a child, you don't know if you want to have another child.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it felt like when I lost my company. It was like losing a child. And so I'm not interested in running a massive company. I do want to make a dent in the universe and do some great things and make a lot of money, but I love the coaching. I love the business that I have now, and it's kind of small, but it's growing and I'm not even running it. Other people are running it. I kind of just, consult on it and, things like that. And then the water company, I will help run and it'll be a game changer. And we don't need 2,000 employees, but we just want to just change the world. And he has sold these globally. So this is going to be a big deal. And so we're excited and I know I'm jacked about, I'm passionate about it like I was solar, and it'll make a difference. And, the marketing and advertising for people to know the truth about their drinking water is important because, the media lies to you based on who's paying the commercials. Well, we're going to get facts out there on drinking water. People are going to see how bad it really is.
Dude, I know we've only got 1 minute left, and dude, this has been a big eye opener for me. What about you, Jayson? Shoal dice.
Man, I had the pleasure of spending a day with Jayson last month, and I already knew what to expect. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Jayson. As I even told him in the past, just his charisma and energy is it's contagious. And I really think that, talking with all the hater stuff, I'm on my own come up. I have people messaging me on Facebook, oh, somebody's talking shit about you, this and that. And I don't care where I'm going where Jayson Waller is. I am ready for it. And quite frankly, if people aren't talking about you, you're doing something wrong. So I really think it comes with the territory of doing something way bigger than yourself. And I think that people that hate on other people are insecure. I used to do it myself when I was insecure. I think we all did. At the end of the day, everyone's a human being. And unless somebody hurts you directly, I think they're deserving of your respect. So those are my thoughts. And we really, really appreciate you coming on here, Jayson. And there's so much to learn, from you. And we wish you tremendous success with your new ventures. And we're really excited to see what's next. We're excited to see you on Amazon Prime as well. That's really, really exciting. I know you're doing some more filming this weekend. Anything you want to add, Jayson?
No, listen, I appreciate it. I met Jayson for the first time. We've talked a few times on the phone over the last few years, and we have some mutual friends. So it was a great meeting. And I wish you guys the best of luck. And Carlos, this was fun. You're good at this. You should keep it up. This is a good show. You had a big following on Facebook. I was like, this is cool. And I feel like, I'm one of the pioneers in solar. I'm not the pioneer. Todd Peterson's who inspired me, who owned Vivint. And before that was Apex. So that was my inspiration in solar. Hopefully I've had a lot of compliments even on Father's Day, where a lot of guys reached out to me that worked for me and some that didn't, said, hey dude, I know it's Father's Day. You're not my dad, but you've inspired me to become an entrepreneur and be in solar or build my own company. Cause a lot of people work for me, like 20 of them own their own business now. And that's flattering. That makes me feel good, right? It makes me feel like I've done something for them and helped them. And so I would just encourage all the guys out there, all the ladies out there that are small companies, dude. It's, you feed an elephant one bite at a time. You got to stay the journey. You can't look at the stairs and go, I want to be $1 billion company. It's not how it works. You got to go, how do I get to level 2? How do I go to level 3? My book, the first chapter is create your own map. And, there's no elevator in life. You've got to take the stairs. And so when you start to do that and you look back, you go, wow, look at how much I've grown, then you can realize it, but you've got to stay in the moment. That's the biggest secret. Even me, I get impatient now, and the newcomers like, we're going to break 1 million, right? 3 months, it's too long. It took me like 19 months to do it in solar. So, you got to be patient and you got to just stay the course and you got to stay you. You don't have to change for anybody. You just stay you, just be real to you, and always do what's right for the brand and the customer. Don't do what's right for one, do what's right for all. That's the best advice I can give.
Dude, we appreciate you, man. There's no substitute for hard work. We're definitely going to be paying attention on your next venture. Where can people find you?
Instagram, Jayson Waller, BAM. If you want to check out the BAM Fam TV show, it comes on Amazon. I have a BAM Fam Instagram handle called BAM Fam Show. I'm also on TikTok, YouTube, and you can definitely check out my podcast, Jayson Waller Unleashed. I've had 2 podcasts that were in the top 5 with the BAM podcast and True Underdog. This is a new show. Like I mentioned earlier, it's like Joe Rogan and Andy Frisella had a baby. I've talked about everything from the Illuminati to aliens to money to business to graham crackers to my top favorite 11 shows. That episode comes out next week. It's fun because I can open up everything and still have some business stuff in it, but I just did the realm opened up and I love it. And I love alien talk. Like I'm addicted to alien stuff for some reason.
Hey, Jayson, where can we get your book, Own Your Power? Where's the best spot to get it?
JaysonWaller.com. You can. Did you read it yet?
I've read bits and pieces of it, but I've had ADD and procrastination.
You know, I did the audio book, so you can do the audio book. You know, you got me yelling at you in the book, but I'm on there.
I need that.
Dude, we appreciate you for coming on. Sales Talk with Solar Pros. You guys heard it here first. If you guys have questions, comments, drop it down on the YouTube. We're posting this as well on the Facebook group. Drop your comments. Who knows? We may do a round 2.
Thank you, man. Bam.
Let's go.
Yeah.